o'clock. And just a reminder that the ANC today is celebrating 107 years of its formation, and we've seen President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing multitudes of Durbanites at Pound Town Taxi Rank, inviting them to join the party as they celebrate in those illustrious celebrations that will be held at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. And he has confidently said that Moses Mabhida Stadium will be full to capacity and will actually overflow. And he was flanked by eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede, and as well as the ANC KwaZulu-Natal chairperson Sihle Zikalala, and he's also the MEC for economic development in that province. So yeah, we have been crossing over to my colleague Mzwandile Mbeje. He's been giving us an update of what to expect today and the activities that will be taking place throughout Durban, and of course at Inanda Stadium, where my colleague Sakina Kamwendo, she's now standing by with Snuki Zikalala, and another ANC bigwig. Let's now cross over to her right now.
Stand by, everybody stand by, and choose Fatina.
And welcome back to the Dr. J.L. Dube Stadium here in Inanda. And what's been happening is, of course, all the crossings to where the president is, and the deputy president this morning in Newcastle, and the ANC top six out in full force across the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And this, of course, for the 107th anniversary celebration of the oldest liberation movement on the continent. And I'm still with our analyst this morning, Xolani Dube from the Zubera Institute. And Xolani, we unfortunately had to cut earlier to where the president was, but just picking up on that conversation again, and talking about invoking Dr. J.L. Dube at this time in the ANC's history. We know at the last celebrations, and of course at Nasrec as well, the ANC was quite intent on addressing the land issue, and maybe let's just pick up from that point again.
I think the issue of land is a motive one in the South African discourse, and it concerns each and every South African. And what we have heard, or what we have been hearing, is the expropriation of land. But the mechanism and the methodology thereafter, it seems there is kind of muteness. No one is telling us that after the land has been expropriated, what value can we extrapolate from it, and who are the people at the end of the day who can make this land economically viable? Because at the end of the day, the land, as we have said, is a natural resources that must make South African be able to survive and be able to deal with the issues of poverty. And so if we do it through emotions, and if we do it because we try to fulfill our historical mandate but not having any program in place, I think we might be facing some predicament that other countries currently are facing in relation to land expropriation, without compensation, as well without plans.
So according to you, where are the loopholes? Where do we still need to actually populate the issues so that we understand exactly what this liberation in terms of the land struggle needs to culminate in?
Look, I think the discourse of land, it need not to be paper covered. It needs to be very frank, and we need to be very honest to it, and we need also to understand what is it that we wanted from this land, because I'm seeing lots of slogans coming out of it. And bear in mind that, Sakina, since 1994, government to a certain extent has expropriated land through will seller, and we have to go back and ask ourselves, to those who were given land, do they use it in a valuable manner, or some of the projects they were supposed to do, what makes them to fail? And so I think the issue of land should not be used to shut other people out of the conversation, but it needs to bring everyone to the ring and let everyone ask the most uncomfortable question, because all of us, we want this country to prosper.
The ANC has, of course, made that transition from being a liberation movement now to being a ruling party. But with that said, what do you think the ANC's transition has lacked?
Look, I don't think that the ANC fully has transform itself into a governing party, because you can't claim to be a revolutionary party when you are governing, because when you are governing you're supposed to implement what all those revolutionary theories that you have. And so I think what is very important, apart from the political organization, the ANC is supposed to employ the mandarins, the people who are patriotic, the people who will execute the interest and the aspiration of the South African. Because look, we have been in this government for the past 24 years, and it's a long time. If you compare to other countries like your Singapore and as well as your Taiwan and others, they went there in less than 24 years. They changed the whole complexity of the economy as well as of the livelihood of its citizens. And so I think we as South African, we need not to postpone our development based on the issues of being arrested by colonialism and apartheid. That discourse, yes, is there, but I think now we need to break mold and start to move forward as South African, as united.
And of course, this celebration happening in an election year, and traditionally the January 8th statement, which was of course predominantly the domain through the struggle years of the O.R. Tambo as president of the African National Congress. And it used to be how and where, when the marching orders were given for the rest of the year. Is that still the case? Or has that also changed?
I think that's what I'm saying. There must be a paradigm shift. Then and now are two different time and space. Then it was about disempowering the apartheid system, but now it's no longer about that. It's about empowering this democratic system. And so I think there must be a serious paradigm shift in terms of the messages and in terms of the jubilation that the ANC always embark upon. And it's supposed to be inclusive, because at the end of the day, whatever that the president of the ANC says here, it emanates into the policies of our country. And so that's why I'm saying it's supposed to be inclusive. It's supposed to source intellectuals from other people across the board. It's not supposed to be kind of only an exclusive ANC issue, because ANC is the people's movement. They must live with that mantra.
Well, those the views there from Xolani Dube of the Zubera Institute on this day, and of course the significance of it, that transformation from liberation into a governing party. So we'll be bringing you more from here. We see Snooki Zikalala is here, our next guest as well, member of the Dube family here. So we still have quite a bit to bring you here from Inanda, but for now it's back to the studio.